And a lovely welcome to you all as the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia for the very first time hits the island of Lombok and the Mandalika International Circuit. It's a party atmosphere, but with some fresh faces joining the fun. There might be pressure towards the front of the field, with Dylan Pereira seeing stronger competition than he has ever seen before. Hi folks, Arjuna Kenkipati back in the global broadcast booth as we get set for another one of our Endurance Cup actions. That means one 30-minute race today, but two races tomorrow. The traditional 30-minute sprint and a 45-minute endurance race. All as we'll crown our very first Endurance Cup champion here at Mandalika. Let's go down to the grid though, get some of the atmosphere from Sammy and Steve.
欢迎大家来到曼达里卡国际赛车道，观看亚洲保时捷凯雷拉杯2025年赛季第10回合的赛事直播。Hello everyone, and now we are in Mandalika International Circuit for round 10 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2025 season. Let's hear from our pit reporter Steve Dawson on how our drivers are doing on their first visit on this track.
Never mind the drivers, Sammy. This is the most picturesque venue of the entire 2025 PCCA season. It is beautiful here. I'll let the drone pictures do the talking rather than waste my time on them. I'm not sure that my words could do justice. Take a look though during the course of the race. On the track, I wonder if Dylan Pereira's dominance might be quashed somewhat because he's in P3 in the overall category, and it's the unregistered driver Marcus Armand who is in P1. So let's watch out for that tussle. Also of some interest in the amateur category, no Mongkong Satyun Tirukun this weekend. So a great opportunity, in theory at least, for Eric Kwong to see if he can get a sort of a free ride towards the podium, pick up more points and entertain us, as he has done, to be fair, throughout the course of this season so far. Beautiful weather, beautiful track, looking forward to it.
Seems like going to be a tight competition with some new rivalship going on. Let's look forward to that and pass it back to our commentators.
And there is so much for us to talk about, of course. Not just our first trip here to the Mandalika International Circuit, but it's the first visit here for the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. We are joined by the Porsche Sprint Challenge Indonesia this weekend, and they have raced here in the past. So there are some drivers that might have some expectation about what we are in for, but with these 992 generation cup cars, they will go racing for the final time this season. Next year in 2026, we will have a brand new GT3 Cup car, of course, based on the new 992.2 generation Porsche 911 that will hit the road, of course, and has already hit the road. But a schedule already released for 2026 that will see our drivers starting to look forward. Let's go back down to the grid though, see who Sammy and Steve are going to be able to catch up with as we get ready to go.
Now joining me on the track today, we have the series manager, Mr. Alexandre Imperatori. Let's welcome him. Hi Alex.
Hi Sammy, hi everyone.
It's our debut on this track, so what can we expect from the circuit and the race itself?
Yes, it's the first time for the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia to visit Mandalika, so we're making history this weekend. It's an exciting new venue. It's super picturesque. I mean, you saw beautiful drone shots, very unique. I think the feedback from our teams and drivers is very positive globally. It's also Endurance Cup weekend, so we have a bit of a different format. The title could be decided overall depending on how the race goes, so it's something to keep an eye on. And of course we have plenty of track evolution here this weekend, so let's keep an eye on things on track today.
Yeah, speaking on the technicality of this track and of course the Endurance Cup continuing this weekend, are there any new challenges the drivers would face?
Well, it's very hot. We have the Endurance Cup format this weekend with a third race, which is 45 minutes long, with a rolling start. We saw already in Sepang how that was testing for all the drivers, and I think we'll have more of that this weekend. It's a great format that we introduced already now for the last 2 years. It's proven very popular. So we'll look forward to award our winners at the end of tomorrow with special prizes for winners in all classes.
Now that we are almost entering the finale of the 2025 season, can you give us a glimpse on what's on the 2026 calendar, and also just recently unveiled the 911 Cup car?
Yes, we were very privileged yesterday morning to unveil our plans for the future to our teams and drivers. We've announced our calendar with some new highlights. we are very happy to announce that we will be visiting again Fuji in Japan for the first time since 2019. We've also expanded our presence in China with an additional round of racing in Zhuhai. Zhuhai will also host our official test days next year, and it's the first time that we're going back there since 2014. And the last time we opened the season in Zhuhai was when I won the championship back in 2012. So we are excited to visit again. And of course, as you mentioned, the queen of the show next year will be the new model coming to Asia. We are very privileged to be one of the first markets to introduce the new 911 Cup next year. It's going to be another evolution of the current car, which is promising to be more performant and better drivability, offer better drivability to our drivers. I think everybody is excited to see what the car can do on track.
And I know there's some application opening soon in September. Is that right?
Oh, we have already opened our applications for next season. It's already live since yesterday morning now, and I think the feedback from everybody is really high, and I think it will be a great season next year.
Thank you so much, Alex. Lots of excitement to look forward to. Let's pass it back to our commentators.
And as you heard from Alexander Imperatori, that schedule has a couple of unique things that I think some of the drivers will look forward to. That trip to Fuji and the blast down what is one of the longest straights in motorsport before you're on the brakes for the very first time into turn one. That should be a lot of fun in a 911 GT3 Cup car that will have ABS as a standard option across of all the championships around the world, including the Porsche Super Cup, from what I've understood. So slightly different complexion that the drivers will have to understand, with the ABS really only being a thing in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America for the most part. So there have been times when drivers have flown all across the world just to try and drive this car with that ABS in the sprint setting. Lots to look forward to next year. Let's focus though on the here and now. Alexander Imperatori did mention it. Dylan Pereira could wrap up the championship this weekend. However, that's really diving into the points and the permutations. Let's focus just on the weather for the time being. 5% chance of rain, which, let's be honest, in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia does mean that you have to be worried, especially by the beach. But 29 degrees in the air, it's relatively mild, but that track temperature, 48 degrees Celsius, provided to us, of course, by Michelin. And the Michelin tyre is going to take a fair amount of where you would assume, given that around this circuit, not only is it 4 kilometers long, there's a lot of energy. Let's go down though. Steve's ready to catch up with our drivers down on the grid.
On pole in Mandalika, car number 9, Marcus Armand, not fighting for the Drivers' Championship, but certainly fighting for the checkered flag today. Marcus, pole position on debut. What a start to the weekend. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the pole position. Pace was very good, and I had a mega car, so now it's just about doing no mistakes and bringing to the flag.
The Drivers' Championship leader is right behind you, Dylan Pereira. What's the strategy for holding him off today?
Just focusing on myself. He's a really good driver, so I think if I don't do any mistakes, it should be okay.
We look forward to seeing you drive. Drive safely.
Thank you very much.
A driver that currently leads the championship in the Porsche Carrera Cup France, a championship that he finished 4th in last year. Eventual champion of that year, Alessandro Gueretti, a name that many in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia ranks will be familiar with, of course, our 2024 champion. So definitely want to keep an eye on. He'll have Enzo Trulli on his outside, and what is one of his better qualifying efforts, of course, got pole to open up the season at the Shanghai International Circuit. But it's been a bit of an up and down season for Trulli as he transitions from being a bit more of an open wheel driver to now committing to sports cars as his future. Did grab 3rd in the second race at Bongsen, so hoping to match that with another podium. In 4th position, that's a driver that I'm going to highlight as well, because Oscar Target, running in the car that traditionally you'd see Munkong Satien Tirikkonen, is in 4th. Let's go down, check in though with Bao Jinlong.
Pole position among the Pro-Am drivers, sitting in position 10 on the grid. It's Bao Jinlong. Jinlong, only 2 Pro-Am drivers competing this weekend. So what's your focus today in this race?
I just do myself. The track, the layout is looks not so so difficult, but actually it's very difficult. So and a lot of corner have it's a technical corner. I just learned something.
Is it an enjoyable track to drive?
Yes, sure.
Fast?
Yes.
Okay, we look forward to you driving safely.
Yeah, thank you.
Like Bao Jinlong mentions, a multiple-time champion, of course, in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Pro-Am Championship. This is a technical track, and there's a section, turns 7, 8, and 9, which is foot to the floor flat in a GT3 car with the oodles of downforce that you have. But in these GT3 Cup cars, a bit more reliant on the mechanical grip. You're going to feather the throttle, and you need to be committed. Back down to the grid. Who else has Steve been able to wrangle up as we get ready to go?
Eric Kwong, first among the amateur drivers, sitting in position 23 on the grid, car number 12. Eric, it looked like a really good run in qualifying. How did it feel for you earlier today?
Well, the track is really nice. Good weather. Yeah, I did okay. Had a good gap in qualify, so I made a good time. Yeah.
Hubor is right behind you. Is it difficult to defend position on this track?
It's a high-speed track. Yeah. And it's very wide, and then there's a lot of room that you can pass. Yeah, there will be some challenges.
Okay, well, good luck. Drive well.
Thank you so much.
Always love the look at the helmet of Eric Kwong, and as I was saying, with Oscar Target stepping into the car that Munkong Satien Turukun usually competes in, the 76 EBM entry, it very much shakes up and mixes up the Pro-Am proceedings, because of course Munkong has been so dominant through the season. Only I think one race has he not stood on the top step of the podium, and he finished second in that race. So a chance for last year's champion to potentially stand on top. Here's a look at the overall point standings, where 100 points the advantage for Dylan Pereira from Enzo Trulli. And like I was saying, points permutation, something to dive into, but there is a chance that Pereira can wrap the championship up this weekend before we head to the Marina Bay Street Circuit to close out the season. Enzo Trulli and Hugo Ellis are only split by 5 points though, so there is a very close fight for second still brewing. Bao Jinlong, another driver that theoretically could wrap the championship up, because only with him and Francis Chia today, again, points permutations, it would be a lot for us to figure out, but it could be, I believe, a potential championship weekend for the BWT Phantom G Racing number 7. Francis Chia will use this round to try and build his buffer going off to Marina Bay, while with Munkong Satien Tirukun, a late withdrawal for him that saw Oscar Target step up. Both Eric Kwong and Henry Kwong, the brothers, will have a chance to fight with just 2 points between the two of them. Yen Chuang was very quick on the streets of Bongsen, so don't count him out in the number 27 Phantom Global Racing Machine. He will be looking for his first victory in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. And then Christian Chia, who with 2 victories at Bongsen, roared to the lead of the Masters class, but Adrian De Silva, John Shen, still hot on his heels, and theoretically, with how crazy this championship has been, I don't think you can count out Jackie Wu from still potentially finding himself in the mix for maybe not the championship, but second and third. So we'll look at our track analysis then, and a couple of critical areas. Relatively high downforce track because you have a lot of these medium and higher speed corners. As much as that last section is very slow, you still got to get that grip underneath you. And your main overtaking spots, the braking zone at turn 1 and the braking zone at turn 10 on the other side of some relatively long runs. But as I was calling out, that sweeper through 7, 8 and 9 in these GT3 Cup cars can be somewhat difficult to commit to, and so drivers will have built up that confidence throughout the course of the weekend to put themselves in this position. What a glorious sight as we get ready to go. This track, of course, may be a little bit more familiar with hosting two-wheeled racing machines, but as motorcycle racing fans will tell you, this track always delivers. Lots of smoke there, but that shouldn't be too much of a concern as we get ready to go for our formation laps. As the field now left by themselves. The grid has been cleared, and the drivers start to focus their minds, build the energy into those Michelin tires. And let's keep an eye out on, I believe that's Josh Rowledge in the Team We Trade PGR number 8. That might be the car that was billowing the smoke. We'll see if there might be something that he has to nurse through the opening 17-lap race, which, just for a note, puts us right on the verge. One safety car will hit that 30-minute time mark. Marcus Amand, on debut in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, is on pole position. He won't score points, though, and instead Enzo Trulli lines up alongside, potentially with a race victory of points up for grabs for him. Dylan Pereira will line up then in third position, the championship leader. For the first time since Motegi, he is not at the front of the field. He'll have Oscar Target, the 2024 Porsche Sprint Challenge champion, alongside in Australia. Then Brock Gilchrist for Team Porsche New Zealand in the 10. He's fifth, with Josh Rowledge in the Team We Trade PGR number 8 alongside him on row 3. Hugo Ellis for Sign Motors Racing will line up in 7th position, alongside of Dylan O'Keefe, a driver who has had his fair share of experiences in Porsche race cars, and he's in the 77 for Toro Racing. Baojun Long, the first of the Pro-Am drivers, the BWT Phantom G Racing entry in 9th, with Rodrigo Diaz Almeida alongside in 10th position, trying to bounce back after a DNS in the second race at Dongsen. Henry Kwong is the best of the AM drivers in 11th for Bergwerk Motorsports. He's got Hubo in the 610 Racing Machine to his outside. Francis Chia is the best of the Masters drivers, and he's 13th alongside Roy Tang, the 610 Racing Machine, and we will see Roy potentially at Singapore as well, his hometown event. Henry Kwong is 15th for Triple Ace Racing. Yen Chuang alongside for Phantom Global Racing in the 27. Keep an eye out for him. He was quick at Dongsen. And then Christian Chia, 17th in the Open Road Racing 88. Adrian De Silva in the EBM number 61. He's 18th position, while Dylan Yip, a 10-place penalty for him after the race at Dongsen drops him all the way back to 19th with some work to do to carve his way through the field. Jackie Wu completes the top 20 with just John Shen then down in 21st, and I believe he also had a 6th-place grid penalty which factored into proceedings. So the cars slowly now working their way towards their grid stalls. How exciting to be here at the Mandalika International Circuit, with the fans watching and championships potentially on the line. 3 races this weekend before we hit the streets of Marina Bay to close the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia season. An endurance race on Sunday. What does that mean for the mindset of the drivers, preserving their tires, their energy, and everything else that they're focused on? Waiting for the lights to build, the engines to sing, and the drivers to focus up on the run to turn number 1. Marcus Amand on the outside, Enzo Trulli on his inside. Who will get the launch as the lights build in Lombok? Away we go in Mandalika. A great start from Marcus Amand. Enzo Trulli is going to have to defend from Dylan Pereira, while behind them, what a launch from the other of the Toro Racing entries, as Dylan O'Keefe got a rocket of a start on the outside for Dylan Pereira, keeping an eye to his inside as they sweep through turn 1 and onto the brakes of turn 2. That's aggressive from Oscar Target as he pushes Josh Rowledge off the track. Track limit's going to be something that race control will be keeping their mind on. But now, Target in that teal entry, back to the inside, and he'll hold on to the spot. Baojun Long's fended off the challenge of Rodrigo Diaz Almeida as well. That will be very, very important for him as they scream now up towards that turn 7, 8, 9 complex for the very first time. There's, I believe, Eric Kwong, who's had a decent launch to the race, as Henry Kwong, his brother, slightly further behind, starting to feel the heat. The field starting to separate on out, as now towards the back you see the Masters drivers. That was John Shen with the flames starting to make his way forward. All as Marcus Amand still leads at the very front of the field. Enzo Trulli able to hold off Dylan Pereira, who did get a good launch. tried around the outside at turn 1, but that's a difficult place to make it work. Here they come, sweep back out through the left-hander at turn 17. And just like that, 1 lap complete here at the Mandalika International Circuit. So 0.6 of a second the advantage at the front. Adrian De Silva did get in front of Christian Chia, by the way, for the Masters lead, and Hubo got in front of Eric Kwong. So there were a couple of changes on the first of the 17 laps of racing. This is the biggest pro field that we have had in quite a while as well, so the competition at the very front is so stacked. And that's why it was so interesting to see Dylan Pereira not only missing out on pole position, but now feeling the effects of dirty air for the first time in quite a while. Now, this is not a fight for position between class competitors, and Baojun Long is slightly overcooked and overcommitted, and that's allowed Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida to make his way past, and now it's 9 pro cars that run at the front. Just Dylan Yip, who's now made his way past Eric Kwong for 13th position overall, still working his way through some of the other class competitors. Leaning on the right sides as they work their way now through into the final sector of the lap. Eric Kwong's now got his brother directly behind. Remember, there's 2 points that separate the two of them for second in the AM class. If you're Henry Kwong as well, this is how, when you have to start thinking about how the traffic plays its part, where does it present you some opportunities? Speaking of opportunities, long way around for Brock Gilchrist. He's going to try and set this up with the crisscross, get to the inside of Josh Rowledge into 2, but it's a short run before you're back onto the anchors, and Rowledge in the Team WeTrade PGR machine covers the inside. Now, he is being very aggressive with his curb usage, trying to park the car on the apex. Oh, and the New Zealander behind, nowhere to go. And trying to now also keep an eye out for Hugo Ellis in the Side Motors Racing, number 38. Through 8, out of 9. That little feather of the throttle as you now head onto the brakes at turn 10. 77 of Dylan O'Keefe is the machine that's tucked up behind. He's second right now, by the way, in the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship standings. Not a far trip from Australia, so it's nice to see a couple of those drivers make their way over. Here's a look at the start. Lights build. The Porsche Symphony was singing out on the start line at Mandalika, and there you see it was Josh Rowledge that got a great launch, and he instantly was almost alongside of Oscar Target. I think Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida might have had a pretty good launch as well, but he then goes somewhat tentative, not wanting to really force the issue 3 wide. Josh Rowledge still having that fight with Oscar Target even through turn 2. Now John Shen has moved his way past Jackie Wu, and they've got Roy Tang with them as well. So as John had a bit of a slip up here, it's out of the final corner. That's the up and under for Roy Tang, who has said on social media that he is looking to be out on the grid at the final round of the championship. That's not ideal though. Overcooks turn 1 and doesn't just lose out to the first of the Masters drivers, loses out to the second as well. Another look at our start, this time from up high in our drone camera. There's a couple of 3 wide moments, you know. There you can see Diaz-Almeida alongside of Baojun Long, slightly deeper in the field. He was very, very cautious and respectful there of Baojun Long, having his own, of course, championship aspirations to focus on. Roy Tang now back behind Jackie Wu. This is good wheel-to-wheel experience for him to start building. Although it has allowed Adrian De Silva and Christian Chia to now build up a 5-second advantage. That's not small. It's nothing to sniff at by any means. Meanwhile, Francis Chia, remember, there's only 2 Pro-Am drivers, so Baojun Long and Francis Chia, as long as they finish this race, will stand on the podium at the very least. but right now split by both Dylan Yip and Hubo, who has had a great opening 4 laps of this race and put the pole sitter in class, Eric Kwong, at a bit of a disadvantage. Back out through the opening sector. It's still 8/10 between Marcus Amand, who has the fastest lap of the race with a 1:32.674. That was set last time by. About a 10th quicker than Trulli, about 2/10 quicker than Dylan Pereira. A very, very talented driver is Marcus Amand. The flying Finn/Frenchman. It works the alliteration no matter which of the nationalities you pick. He's also got plenty of experience in some open wheel machinery as well, which is translated quite nicely into the Porsche Carrera Cup France, where he does, as I mentioned at the start of the race, current championship leader. You've also got to wonder how this influx of some fresh faces into the pro classes will close lap 5 of 17 this time at the line. You wonder how that changed the mindset for some of these drivers, for the likes of Trulli and Pereira. Because Marcus Amand and Oscar Target, they won't score points. And Enzo Trulli, if he finishes second on the road behind the 9, still score the 25 points as if he had won the race. So are they aware that they don't have to push as hard necessarily and can potentially focus on their own races here? Shaping to the inside. Now, is that just Francis Chia showing himself? Or rather, excuse me, Henry Kwong showing himself on the inside of his brother Eric Kwong. Toro Racing team, quick chat amongst themselves, maybe looking at some of those tire pressures and whatnot, just taking a look at the balance of the car right now. Remember, we have a second sprint race tomorrow, but then an endurance race, so managing your fresh allotment of Michelin tires is relatively important. I can tell you, by the way, that, I did mention that track limits would be a talking point. There's already some drivers that are up to their 3rd warning, which I would not be surprised if that means that they are one more strike away from incurring the wrath of race control when it comes to penalties. Josh Rowledge runs 5th. Behind him, the train is building. Brock Gilchrist, Hugo Ellis, Dylan O'Keefe, and even Rodrigo Diaz Almeida. Now 2.6 seconds up the road to Oscar Target in that teal number 76 EBM machine. Brock Gilchrist, who of course missed the races at Motegi because he had an emergency appendix surgery. Back on the podium last time at Bongsen though. In the second race he finished second. And the 21-year-old just continuing to get a little bit more comfortable with the machinery. In terms of the championship, Brock is 4th and only 13 points behind Hugo Ellis and therefore 18 points behind Enzo Trulli. So 5 races left to go, still plenty to play for. So Dylan Yip, after his 10th place penalty on the start, or rather after qualifying, carried over from Bongsen, worked his way past Bao Junlong, the Pro-Am leader, in the very, very distinctive number 7, that BWT Phantom G racing machine. And he has got a 6-second gap now back to Hubo, who you see on your screen right now in the pink with highlighted yellow around the front and the sides of that car. Then Francis Chia. And then Henry Kwong has managed to put the mental pressure on to Eric Kwong. Now, that might be significant. the furled black flag for the number 7. So Bao Junlong, I think, has been officially dinged by race control for the use of track limits. We'll keep an eye on that as to if any further infractions end up stacking up for the Pro-Am Championship leader. He's got clean air now, that's the important thing. He doesn't have to push too hard. 7 seconds behind him. And then a further 2.5 seconds back to a championship rival. Now is that an issue for Josh Rowledge? Brock Gilchrist gets past. Hugo Ellis too. Remember, that car was billowing smoke on the starting grid. Which way did Dylan O'Keefe go? DS Almeida right there as well. And heads up from Rowledge to avoid making that a stickier situation. Now DS Almeida's been given a chance here to put the pressure onto O'Keefe. Can he sling it up the inside, up through 15 and 16? He'll give it a go. Wheel to wheel, and the Toro Racing car just on the outside, the unpreferred line, concedes the spot to DS Almeida. So the Team Jebsen machine now starts to look in the rearview mirrors. Which way does O'Keefe shape? Jinx to the inside, but back into line. Of course, DS Almeida, one of the Porsche talent pool drivers here in 2025, so receiving support from the team at Porsche to develop the next crop of Porsche factory drivers. And competing against someone who has got experience in the Porsche GT3 ranks all the way back to 2015. It's been 10 years of Dylan O'Keefe racing these Porsche Cup cars in various forms. Dylan's even had a crack at the Bathurst 1000, of course raced in the Supercars Championship in his native Australia. His best result was a 10th place finish in 2023, which a very, very impressive running paired up with James Golding in that particular year. Bit of debris on the track. Now what's that? Was that potentially part of a tyre? Was that something that was just rubbing on Josh Rowledge's car that's finally worked itself loose, because he hasn't slowed his pace after dropping to the tail end of the queue for 5th position. About halfway through this opening sprint of the race. 9 laps now complete as it's been from green flag to this point in the race, a lead that Marcus Amand has yet to concede. So yeah, Josh Rowledge, whatever issue he did have, seemingly not slowing him down any longer. And for Josh as well, let's not forget that Bongsen was not the easiest of races for him, if I remember correctly. Did a bit of damage to the car in practice, and so they had to shake the car down before the racing just to make sure they were confident after the rebuild. So I'm sure for him, he will be happy, A, with the qualifying effort that he was able to put together, but the fact that he's in the fight. Hubo spun from the lead of the Pro-Am class. And now Josh Rowledge back on the attack. He's passed DS Almeida. And Dylan O'Keefe made his way forward as well. So the Team Jebsen 55 has lost 2 positions there. Tries to get back to the inside and grab one of those spots back, but he's all sorts of out of shape. Forces Josh Rowledge off the track as well as they come into the penultimate section of corners. A little bit too aggressive, you'd think, from DS Almeida. A couple more drivers have been given a 3rd warning. That includes Dylan O'Keefe for track limits. So just keeping an eye on that. It's a fully automated system here at the Mandalika International Circuit. There's sensors on the outside of the track from what I've understood. There's not someone having to sit there and monitor the camera angles for precision. Right, so what happens to Hubo? So he's lost it on power, and a good job there, I think, from Henry Kwong to avoid. But maybe that's just being a bit too quick on the right foot to put it to the floor. unfortunately, for Hubo. So now drops behind Adrian De Silva, but he's still 4th in class. So Henry Kwong, Yen Chuang, and then Eric Kwong, the running order as it sits right now. Yen Chuang, who came so close to his first victories in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia at Bongsan. I think he'd be a bit frustrated with another second place finish. That would be 3 in a row if he can't find his way past Henry Kwong. There is the 27, the Phantom Global Racing machine with the 23 behind. So Eric Kwong, as that's a spin for Henry Kwong from the front of the AM lead. And now promotes Yen Chuang into that golden opportunity. On our first trip here to the Mandalika International Circuit, I think the drivers are finding out just how difficult a combination it is with this 992.1 generation Cup car. Remember, no ABS, no traction control in this machine. It's all up to the driver. So now Francis Chia's got a great view of the action in his rearview mirror. The fight for the AM win here today. Yen Chuang looking to hold on with what will be 7 laps to go, I believe. Eric Kwong flashes the lights. He's a veteran of the series. Remember, defending champion in the AM class, and also the champion going all the way back to 2021. Clatter over the inside curbs. A bit wide there for Eric, but able to get back into line now. Up through 5 into 6. That will be the run in towards turn 8. That little bit of a lift of the throttle. So Rodrigo Diaz Almeida. He's now behind. Was that Brock Gilchrist? Or rather, that was Hugo Ellis. A very similar looking car to Diaz Almeida. Excuse me there. But that was the fight for 5th position. But I was wondering, has Brock Gilchrist also been a victim of some sort of an incident? So back up the front of the field, Marcus Amand is starting to feel the heat once again, because Enzo Trilli, who often has seen the long run pace somewhat fall away from him, it's really coming to him right now. And much is the same story for Oscar Target in that number 76. A very late call-up for him. I was reading an article where he said that he was testing a cup car in his native Australia on Monday, got the call, and then had to go through the motions of getting his visa, securing travel, and all of the fun stuff that comes with being a racing driver. It's not always just strap the helmet on and go driving. Sometimes there's some other stuff as well, and Oscar Target, such a great story as well, because while he did win the 2024 Porsche Sprint Challenge Australia Championship, he actually missed the opening round of the 2023 Championship because he was undergoing open heart surgery. So a great recovery medically and physically from him, but also just to be able to step back and after the 1 round missed in 2023, full focus on 2024 and wrapping up the championship. Here comes a look. Does Eric Kwong commit? Yen Chuang fades and holds on to that position, but the laps are starting to tick down. I think that's now actually 4 laps to go, but never trust the math of a commentator, especially this particular one. 6/10 the gap at the line between your race leader and the hunting Enzo Trilli. Back out of turn 4, they will sweep. We saw the track temperature, let's not forget. What was it, 48 degrees Celsius. I mean, that's not just hot on the tires, but must be a pretty demanding track physically for the drivers as well, given that there are so many medium and high-speed corners to think about. Oh, on the pit straight, ducking and diving past some of the debris. Hubo's on the case of Adrian De Silva. Now, this again is not for a class position. These are two drivers in separate classes. But if you're Adrian De Silva, you'd be very happy to keep both Hubo and Roy Tang behind you, between yourself and your nearest competitor, Christian Chia, in that number 88. This is going to bring down the lead in the Masters class by a very small amount. Should be within 10 points, I think, going into our two races tomorrow between still leader Christian Chia, but Adrian De Silva does close the gap down, if my math serves. There is Bao Long, who after the furled black flag for track limits violation has seemingly been caught napping once again, because he has been given a 10-second time penalty for continuous abuse of track limits. Now, the question is going to be, what is this gap back to Francis Chia? Because if that gap is bigger than 10 seconds, he'll still hold on to the win. And at the line, it was 12 seconds, so Bao Long doing a great job, even with those track limits violations, to gap himself out from the only other Pro-Am machine in the field this weekend. No safety cars yet. I knock on the wood as I say that, as the laps tick down. Bit of traffic now in front of your race leaders. How does Marcus Amann deal with Jackie Wu and with John Shen? And is this the chance for Trulli, for Pereira, for Target to start closing as well? A 17-lap race might not sound like a lot, but you can set the car up to favor the start or the end of the race. What do these drivers have underneath them? For John Shen as well, he will want to try and hold on to a potential third-place finish over Jackie Wu, given how the point situation has cycled through in the Masters class. They're going to get caught up behind. Oh, almost bumper to bumper. 3 cars in a queue now. Here comes Dylan Pereira, the championship leader. Lift up throttle. Out through turn 8. Oscar Target, the one that slightly lost out through that sequence of traffic. But they will have, I believe, 1 lap left at the line. Enzo Trulli potentially had his chance, but saw it flash by. It's very difficult in those situations to make the right decision. You don't want to try and force the cars going a lap down into a dangerous position, and you don't want to potentially run into the car in front of you either. So 16 laps will be complete. Marcus Amann has led for all 16 so far. Can he hold on for one final lap? With Trulli, Pereira hot on his heels. Bao Long is now only 10.5 seconds in front of Francis Chia, so there is the chance that will slip around. And talking of slip around, there goes the chance of the race win for Yen Truong. Oh, heartbreaking. His first potential victory in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. It comes unstuck on the final lap, and that, good save from John Shen to hold on, but looks like a very, very uncomfortable ride. Ooh, Dylan Pereira is really hustling the car on this final lap. He's not settled for third by any means just yet. It will be the first time since the opening round of the season that Dylan Pereira is not standing on the top step of the podium. And he has had some fresh challenges, but in front of him is a driver that has been here since the start of the season and grabbed the opening win of the season as well. It's great to see Enzo Trulli building his confidence in this Porsche Cup car, and he will grab 25 championship points. A snatch of the right front from Marcus Amand, but it's of no major concern. Fends off the pressure to the checkered flag, and a victory in the number 9 for Team Better Life. For the very first time, the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia hits Mandalika, and Marcus Amand grabs the victory. Now it's going to be very, very marginal if Bao Jinlong does hold on to that Pro-Am win. It was 10.6 seconds the margin at the last timing beam for them. If Francis Chia can find 0.6 of a second, he steals the victory away from this driver. Out of the final corner. Track limits, yes, hampering him slightly. But Bao Jinlong in the BWT Phantom G Racing entry crosses the line. Now will it be for victory? Get your stopwatch out. Tick-tock, tick-tock. There comes the 21. It's a very different type of racer, Gatelli. Oh, he lost it on the final lap, unfortunately, did Francis Chia. But it will be Eric Kwong that grabs the victory in the AM class, and Adrian De Silva stamps his authority on the Masters class with a dominant race victory as well. Hugo just in front of Roy Tang, who really picked up the pace as the race went on. He's going to be someone over the weekend to keep an eye on. And again, for Roy Tang, this is all for him, building to Singapore, his home race. But he's already expressed his intention to be back in that number 610 machine. Outside of potentially locking the tyre on the final corner of the race. What an impressive drive from Marcus Amand, the Flying Finn, who on debut in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia grabs the victory over Enzo Trilli, over Dylan Pereira. Now, importantly, what this does mean in the championship is Enzo Trilli has taken away a couple of points from Dylan Pereira, but remember, championship permutations, 100 points the advantage for Pereira. He is very much looking like he is on course to wrapping up the championship. Maybe this weekend, he might have to wait to celebrate until we hit the streets of Singapore, though. No waiting around for this celebration, though. Out of the car. Congratulations to race winner Marcus Amand. So our podium ceremonies coming up shortly. All 4 of our classes will get their chance to stand on the podium, enjoy the celebrations. But even though, remember, I'll mention it again, even though Marcus Amand grabs the victory on track, he does not score championship points, and that means Enzo Trilli grabs 25 championship points instead in the Toro Racing number 99. But 6/10 covers the top 3, and for the first time since Shanghai, it's Dylan Pereira not on the top step of the podium. He finishes down in 3rd, with Oscar Target 4th, Hugo Ellis 5th in the Simon Rosas racing car, just in front of Brock Gilchrist, that changing around in the final couple of laps. Dylan O'Keefe, 7th for him, in front of Josh Rowledge, Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida, and Dylan Yip. A good job from Yip to work his way through the Pro-Am, Am, and Masters class cars. Bao Jinlong in front of Francis Chia, even with the 10-second time penalty, while Eric Kwong, Hubo, Roy Tang, Henry Kwong, and then Adrian De Silva, Christian Chia, Jackie Wu, John Shen, and then Yen Chuan classified as a DNF. And those live points updated. Bao Jinlong got more than a 10-second penalty, and Francis Chia is scored as the race winner. So Steve Dawson might have some work to do to figure out exactly what penalties ended up being applied there. But those results, as ever, were provisional rather than final. I can see Steve there getting ready to talk to Marcus, so let's go down and catch up with a first-time winner in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia.
Marcus, what a weekend for you. What a beginning to the weekend, at least on debut on this fantastic track. Pole position, the win. Come on, how do you feel?
Very good. Very nice to win. Wasn't the easiest one. Yeah, Enzo was putting just pressure all the time, and with the AM it was pretty scary, but we managed to end up first, and I'm very happy about this.
You say pretty scary. Towards the end there, it looked like you were three abreast almost, right at the end of the race there.
Yeah, I thought I was going to lose the car because it was so close. And I was just like, I don't know what they're doing. But I managed to keep the position, so that was the most important thing. And yeah, just the team gave me a mega car, and it was very fast.
I hope we get a chance to talk to you again this weekend, but just in case we don't, just tell us about the experience of driving a Porsche car on this track in this country.
It's just amazing to receive a call and to come here. Like, I didn't really know how the track was, but just being by the sea, like, the view is amazing. It just, I don't know what to say. Like, I've never seen that in my life, so it's very cool, and to win is even better.
Yeah, and the champagne might be even better than that, so go and enjoy it. Well done.
Thank you very much.
A bright future ahead of that driver, I have no doubt, and nice interview as well. Always nice when Steve's able to get some nice thoughts from our drivers. You can see the podium sitters down behind, or below I should say, the actual podium itself, where Bibendum, Mr. Michelin Man, has already positioned himself as ever. Ready to join the celebrations is Bibendum. So, we have, as I mentioned, 2 more races tomorrow. We'll have another one of these 17-lap sprint races, but also a 45-minute endurance race. So lots to look forward to. Let's go back down to Steve Dawson, see who's grabbed.
Pro-Am driver Francis Chia is with me. Francis, as long as you stayed in the race, you were going to be on the podium, but this is special because you're on the top step. When did you know you'd won it? Because there was a lot of technicalities going on with this car, wasn't there?
Yeah, I had no idea, to be honest. Only once I crossed the finish line,
Really?
the team informed me, we think that Bao has a penalty. So that's all. But, yeah, I mean, nonetheless, like you said, first you have to finish.
Yeah. But what a track, though, to go around. I mean, it looks quick and maybe a little scary.
It's not that scary, but it's very quick, and so in that way it's very technical, and starts to get physical when it's hot as well. Yeah. So it's a really fun track. I mean, it's really enjoyable to drive, but it's very difficult to be very quick.
Did you get caught up with any of the other drivers from the other categories?
I had to defend after the start. I think I caught 1 or 2 guys at the start, so I had a decent start. And then it was actually defending because I felt it's going to be a long race. Tires will degrade quite a bit. And I think I was proven right because the passing attempts didn't work out. And after that, I was able to maintain a gap. So I'm happy.
Enjoy that bubbly.
Yeah, I will. Will do. Thank you.
And sometimes that's the reality of racing. You cross the line and you're not even aware of whether you had won or not. So first to finish first you must finish, right? That's the quote. So congratulations to Francis. Even though there's just the 2 cars, a win is always special. It is his first win in 2025 for one of the most experienced competitors in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. So I'm sure that's going to be a very happy driver. Back down to find out how our Amphi winner is feeling with Steve Dawson.
Eric Kwong is with us, winner in the amateur category. You look tired. Is that fair?
I'm all right. I'm not that tired. Yeah.
Tell us about the race. It looked hard work out there, and it looked quick.
Yeah, I mean, the start, I didn't have a good start, and then 2 guys passed in front of me, and then in the 40% of the race, I had a mistake, and I went wide because I tried to pass Francis, but it was not successful. And then I then fall back to behind Francis, Henry, and Yan Chang. And then I'm stay behind them and then try to get them as close as I can. When there is a chance, and I try to pass them, but it's really difficult. And then Henry spun, and then I think in the last 3 laps, I have a chance to pass Yan. I try to outbrake him in the T10, and somehow he spun by himself with no touch, of course. And I got the position in the second to the last lap.
You're talking about overtaking quite a bit. Is qualifying not so important really on this track compared to maybe some of the others over the course of the season?
I think qualify is relatively important because it's all high speed. It's a high speed track. It's difficult to pass. You know, everybody's driving like 200 kilometers per hour. Yeah, and then you got to have a ball to pass. Yeah.
All right. The podium awaits. Enjoy it. Well done.
Thank you so much.
not an easy race by any means. And if you told Eric after grabbing pole that he would grab the win, he would be very happy, but maybe would have enjoyed the in-between parts of that story to have been a bit simpler. I think that is a driver that will be hoping that the next race he's learned a little bit. And that's what makes, the jump between these classes really is the level of consistency. Often you'll find the drivers can get the speed out of the car, but doing it every corner, every lap can be difficult. Let's go down to our final winner, Steve Dawson, standing by with Adrian De Silva.
Adrian De Silva's just hauled on his overalls, which is the last thing you want to do in this weather, isn't it? It's hot there, isn't it, out there?
It's really hot. From the start, waiting at a grid, 5 minutes at a grid, my God, that's perspiring at a grid. And then, if I didn't have any gloves on, my hands would be far darker than the skin.
Once you got off the starting grid, how did the race go for you?
Oh, excellent. The moment I got off the starting grid and in front of Christian, which is exactly what I wanted, to be ahead of him in the Masters class, I just focused on driving. It was like every lap was a qualifying lap, trying to put in the best lap, and that's it. And I hardly looked behind. And
did you have much clear air ahead of you then?
I did have some, and after like halfway through the race, the amps in front, or the pro amps, they pulled away a bit. So I had clear, and I wasn't going to compete with them. So I had like Jan just right in front of me, almost at the same pace as me. I could have fought for that position, but I didn't want to risk losing any points.
Only one race tomorrow, so you can have a relatively... Two races, you're right, sorry, yeah. That's more work for everybody.
Yeah.
So it means you'll have to be...
long one.
oh, goodness, I've completely misjudged it. So early to bed tonight, but a little bit of champagne first?
Yeah, at the Porsche Welcome Center.
Why not? I'll see you there.
Okay, see you.
Well done.
Making plans for this evening, it would seem. How do I join the party? Party now to move up to the podium, though. So after Steve grabbed that quick chat with our full class winners, 4 podiums to come as well. But we'll grab a look at some highlights before that as well. So still some more coverage to come before we wrap things up here on Saturday from the Mandalika International Circuit. Great to be here for the very first time with the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. So, before we get into the podium ceremonies, let's take a look at those highlights, because a great launch for Josh Rowledge further behind as Marcus Amand led them away into turn 1 for the first time here at the Mandalika International Circuit. Josh Rowledge, such a good start. He was inside of Oscar Target. They were 3 wide behind as DS Almeida got a good start as well. But at the front of the field, Amand, Enzo Trilli, Dylan Pereira, they would enter the first corner in that order. They would end the race in that order as well, but the pressure was put on all the way through. Yen Chuang, he had a fun fight with the likes of Henry Kwong and others, but the AM class was kind of characterized by a couple of mistakes here and there. As much as we saw some attempted moves, it was slip up after slip up for a couple of drivers. DS Almeida pushed Josh Rowledge out wide with a bit of an aggressive pass, and there was a look at Henry Kwong spinning around from the lead of the Pro-Am class, or rather the AM class I should say. Nice move there for Roy Tang, who was fighting his way from the back of the field. Bao Junlong off the track, not for the first time, as he would incur a penalty for track limits violations. And that unfortunately was the moment that Yen Chuang found his race ended, with a potential race victory having been on the cars. But light to flag for Marcus Amand at the front of the field. And with that first race done, as Steve was alluding to, he got there in the end. We've got 2 races tomorrow. The 17-lap sprint, the 45-minute endurance race. Lots for these drivers to be thinking about. Even as much as they want to celebrate the mechanisms, the mind of a racing driver, it never stops, it never really sleeps. It's always thinking and plotting about what still needs to be done. And for some of these drivers, as Alexander Imperatori did mention, entries for the 2026 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Championship have opened, and so I'm sure many of these drivers have started that planning for next year. The process by which you get the funding to go racing can sometimes be a while. Let's go down to the podium, check in with Sammy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium presentation for round 10 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2025 in Pertamina Mandalika International Circuit in Lombok, Indonesia. Now, let's invite the winners of round 10 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2025 in Mandalika for the Masters class. On third place, we have driver number 69, Jackie Wu from Porsche on Retail 619.
Kalau bisa dan inilah dia Jackie Wu hadir sebagai terbaik yang ketiga, tepatnya adalah Jackie Wu.
On second place, we have driver number 88, Christian Chia from Open Road Racing. And the winner goes to driver number 61, Adrian De Silva from EBM. May I now kindly invite Ms. Boyachi, the Senior Manager of One Mix Series from Porsche Motorsports Asia Pacific, to now present the winner trophy. And now I would like to invite Mr. Alex Imperatori, the Manager for Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, to present the second place trophy. And now I would like to invite Mr. Ben Ma, the Michelin Motorsports Asia Pacific Director, to present the third place trophy. And now may I invite all the award presenters to please join at the podium to have a group photo, please. Everybody, thumbs up, big smiles, over to the camera, downstairs, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much to all of our award presenters. It is time for some celebration. Congratulations again to our winners for the masterclass.
The Masters drivers now go off and sounds like heading to the Porsche Center where the after party will continue. The engineers all standing there as well. Be quite curious to get their thoughts on the Mandalika International Circuit from an engineer's perspective. But another podium, let's go down to our AM podiums.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's invite the winners of round 10 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2025 in Mandalika for the M class. On the third place, we have driver number 610, Tianfu Roy Tang from 610 Racing. Second place, we have driver number 22, Hu Bo from 610 Racing. And the winner goes to driver number 23, Eric Wong from Bergwerk Motorsport. May I now kindly invite Ms. Boyachi, the Senior Manager of One Mix Series from Porsche Motorsports Asia Pacific, to present the winner trophy. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Alex Imperatori to present the second place trophy. And next, I would like to invite Mr. Ben Ma to present the third place trophy. And now may I invite all of the award presenters to now join the winners on the podium to take a group photo together, please. A round of applause to the winners of M class. Everybody, big smiles, thumbs up, and look for the cameras down there. Oh, they are done with the photo. It's time for champagne! Woo! Congratulations again to the winners of the M class.
Looks like Eric Kwong had a suspicion that the champagne was going to get sprayed on his race suit and wanted to avoid fire. Don't blame him, given that suit got to be used tomorrow for a couple of races, you'd assume. Wet race suits, I can speak from experience, not ideal. Just 2 drivers in our Pro-Am class. Let's go down to our podium, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, now let's get ready to invite the winners for the overall class. On the 3rd place, we have driver number 5, Dylan Pereira from Team Shanghai Yongda VWT. On 2nd place, driver number 99, Enzo Trulli from Toro Racing. And the winner goes to number 9, Marcus Amon from Team Better Life. And the dealer trophy winner goes to Team Better Life. Woo! Now may I kindly invite Ms. Boyachi to present the winner trophy, the check, and also the dealer trophy. May I now invite Mr. Alex Imperatori to present the 2nd place trophy, together with a check as well. And lastly, may I invite Mr. Ben Ma to present the 3rd place trophy and also the check. May I kindly invite all of the award presenters to join the winners at the podium for a group photo, please. Are they able to fit? Or you can, yes, I think they should have spot. Okay, everybody big smiles. Please pose for the cameras down there. Big smiles. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. For our winners, please just hold the champagne and do not shower. Just hold the champagne for the picture. Hold the trophy, please. So, thank you very much. 是吗？叫他们回来。所以他们留在这边。Okay, and now we are going to continue to present for the winners for the Pro-Am class. Let's welcome the 2nd place winner. We have driver number 7, Bao Jinlong from BWT Phantom Global Racing. And the 1st place is driver number 21, Francis Chiang from Open Road Racing. May I now have Ms. Boya to present the winner trophy for the Pro-Am class. And now I would like to invite Mr. Alex to present the 2nd place trophy. And now let's have another group photo. It's going to be a little bit cramped because it's our first time having winners for the overall class and the Pro-Am class to have a group photo together. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause to our winners. Can everybody pick up their trophy? Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much, award presenters. Let's get ready because we are going to have the champagne shower, not for 3, but 5. Congratulations once again to all of our winners. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you later.
that was certainly a unique podium that I'm sure some of these drivers, Francis chief amongst them, Marcus Amanda as well, will likely never forget. A quick look at the calendar before we wrap things up for Saturday here from the Mandalika International Circuit. This is a look to 2026, a return to the Zhuhai International Circuit, which has seen many a year of competition for Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, as well as the Fuji International Speedway for the first time since 2019, but Shanghai International Circuit, Bongsen Street Circuit, Sepang International Circuit, and the Marina Bay Street Circuit all return a 13-round championship for these drivers to look forward to, with a brand new car. The 992.2 generation Porsche Cup car will be breaking stride for these drivers in 2026. What a way to kick off the weekend though for 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia action, as we hit the Mandalika International Circuit for the first time. 3 races on deck. Race 1 officially in the books. For the team behind the scenes, Arjuna Kankipati saying goodbye. See you on Sunday.